Saint Rita of Cascia. Rita of Cascia was born in the year 1381. All Italy was in trouble at that time, but to Anthony and Amata Mancini, Rita brought peace and serenity when she was born to this God-fearing couple who were well advanced in years. The married life of Rita was marked by the cross. She suffered cruel beatings and insults from her husband. One evening, he came home repentant and promised Rita that he would change his life. That was Rita's first moment of happiness with him. But Rita's happiness was short-lived because her husband was one day attacked by vengeful assassins and died instantly. Rita could only pray for the repose of his soul. Shortly thereafter, Rita began to detect a change in her two sons. They were planning to avenge their father's murder. Nothing could have been further from Rita's mind, who had already forgiven the murderers of her husband. Rita implored God to take the lives of her two sons rather than to let them commit a terrible crime. The salvation of their immortal souls was more important to her than their bodily life. Her courageous prayers were answered. Barely a year after her father's death, the two boys died. One day, while Rita was praying with her eyes fixed on the crucifix, she felt an acute pain penetrate her forehead. Then, a gaping, festering wound appeared, and Christ revealed to her that the wound she had now would never heal, and that she would suffer the pain of wearing a mystical crown of thorns until the day of her death. Rita underwent this terrible humiliation for 15 years. She had to be isolated because the wound gave off a very unpleasant odor which the other nuns could not resist. Although Rita was highly virtuous, she suffered the consequence of her isolation. Her only comfort lay in the words which Christ had spoken to her. If you liken yourself to me in your sufferings, then it will result, in accordance with the doctrine of my Apostle Paul, that you will be like me also in grace and in glory. The final sickness of Rita lasted for 3 years. Then, on May 22, 1457, her beautiful soul winged its way toward heaven. The moment Rita died, the convent bell began to ring without anyone touching it. The room where she lay glowed with a heavenly light, and her face became fresh and youthful, while a pleasant odor filled the whole room. Although Saint Rita was never embalmed, her body still lies incorrupt in the chapel of the convent in Cascia. The wound in her forehead is completely healed. At various times throughout the years since her death, nearly 7 centuries ago, numerous miracles had been performed by her. Many pilgrims who visited her shrine have testified that her body moves. Saint Rita had been called the saint of the impossible. Saint Rita teaches us that if we believe in God and pray with faith, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible if we only trust in God. When we are beset by troubles, when we find that life is a burden, when we are overcome by discouragement, let us, in imitation of Saint Rita, turn to God, the powerful Father who loves us.